It's the first elimination of the series for Strictly Come Dancing 2025, as our 15 dancing couples took to the Strictly Ballroom for the second time properly for the competition, as our couples performed for their lives with some amazing routines. Some of them I honestly think could go all the way, and even Shirley said that we could be looking at a potential front runner as the series progresses. But also we had the dance off of the first dance off of the series, where our first celebrity and dance couple was eliminated from the competition. We've got a lot to talk about this week's recap and review of Should It Come Dancing 2025. So without any further ado, let's get straight into the review. So, folks, it is technically week 2 for Strictly Come Dancing, for also week 1 in a way, because it's basically the first elimination of the series. And I know I'm recording this quite late. It's currently Friday. I'm recording this. I actually originally deleted my previous reviews, but I decided, you know what? I'm gonna keep doing these because I think I want to join. I want to get my voice, and I do want to enjoy it more. So I originally got rid of the uh, two reviews. I thought I wasn't gonna be able to do any of them for the rest of the series, but I was like, you know what? Since I have my first one, I'll just post out like normal, and then we'll just go on from there. So the launch show wouldn't really count in a way, because it's not really the first. Well, it wasn't the actual competition. So, but we're going through. We're starting strong. We're going to continue where we are now. My week 1 was I re-uploaded earlier today, so if you want to check it out, feel free to. I'm going to try and get a good schedule for doing these reviews for Strictly. Hopefully within at least Monday. I'm trying to aim for at this rate, but we'll see where we go from there. But anyways, let's get in. We got to talk about Strictly Come Dancing this week, because it was a great, well, last week in a way, because it was a great week. Some great dances, and even Shirley mentioned that we could be seeing a potential frontrunner emerge. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised, because this person, along with another couple from the last episode, really blew me away. And I think if these two aren't in the finals, there is something massively wrong. All right, so we'll basically get through them as it goes along, and we'll basically. Yeah, so that's how we're going to do it. I'm going to try and get through these as quickly as possible, and I don't want to drag on for too long doing these talking about each act, but at least I'll try to. So let's just kick off. Kicking off the night, we had Lavoie and Aliash, who performed a jive to Objection to Go by Shakira. I will admit, it didn't seem like a jive to me. It felt more of a tango, to be honest with you. But they got a score of 19, and I would have given it a 5. I would have given the score a 5, and I thought it was a really solid performance, undoubtedly entertaining, and but it didn't feel like a jive. It felt more of a tango to me, in my opinion, which of course not taken that away in the slightest. But still, it was a really solid performance. And what I love about Aliash and Lavoie is they have both got the best sense of humor. Lavoie, her sense of humor is absolutely fantastic. We have Aliash along for the ride, and when they're doing the voting, it's them. They're kind of messing around with each other. It's really wholesome, and just they got a great partnership. I think both Lavoie and Aliash, and I think they are the perfect choice for this. Yeah, I do agree. I would say it wasn't maybe as strong as last week. Maybe I mean there was definitely a progression there emerging, but still, I still thought it was a solid performance overall, and overall really good start to the show as a whole. I really enjoyed this jive from Lavoie and Aliash. Next, we had Karen and Carlos, who performed the tango to training session by Dua Lipa. Love me some Dua Lipa. They got a score of 20, so comparing to their last score from last week, they got 31, so they got a 9 point difference this time around, which I will admit, I don't know if this was as strong as the jive, because the jive was so unexpected, and I didn't think she was gonna do so well at it, and she absolutely nailed the jive as well, which was brilliant. And so I think she's clearly more of a Latin girl than ballroom, but I still, even though this wasn't as mind blowing as the jive from the previous week, I still think she was brilliant. I thought it was still a brilliant tango, and I just think, I know that she can do so much more. So I think if she goes back to the not the jive necessarily, but if she does a performance like her week 1 performance, I think we can see her skyrocketing to the top. And I do think, you know, going into the competition, we didn't really have much belief, I guess, in her in a way. So because I didn't know how good she would be, but that jive was so good first time round. This was good, but it didn't feel it had the same elements as it was from the previous week that she did. But it was still a really good performance, and I do think with the right preparation and right working out the right everything, if she can really polish up the routine more, I think there's so much more to see for Carlos and Karen, and I cannot wait to see what they do for movie week. As tomorrow night at the time we're recording the video or this review, it's the movie week, so probably go through the movie week songs at the end of the review just to so yeah, that'd be really cool. And so yeah, I still thought it was a good performance overall, and it was still, yeah, it was, while it wasn't as strong as the first performance, it was still really good nonetheless. Now we go on to probably one of my favorite couples of the season, just in terms of entertainment value. That is Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank and Lauren, who performs the Cha Cha Cha. So I Heard It Through the Grapevine by Marvin Gaye, an absolutely brilliant song from the 60s, a talent we lost way too soon. They got a score of 25, and comparing to their score from the last from the first time round, they got where are they? Am I looking at the wrong? They got 27, and they got 25, so slight a 2 point difference compared to last week. But I loved this. I absolutely loved the whole performance, and Lauren really knows how to showcase her partner when they look like they're having so much fun. You can tell Jimmy is having the time of his life, which is brilliant. And I actually found out his daughters are actually dancers as well, so I hope he's learning some little tricks from them. That would be very cool. But I still, I just can't help but smile by watching them perform together. I just think they got the best partnership, I think, for Jimmy at least. He's got a great partnership with um, Lauren, and it's fantastic. It really is fantastic, and just yeah, I can't fault anything. He just I think he's one of those people who's going to keep surprising us as the series progresses, and I think if he does that, we could see him having that dark horse edit that could definitely see him get to maybe the quarterfinals, the semi-finals, Blackpool week. Any of those, I think, would be brilliant. So I cannot wait to see what he does next in the movie episode. And I just absolutely love these guys. And now we have to talk about, again, another performance I think was one of the best of the night with this and the upcoming one, which we'll talk about a bit later on. And that is Lewis Cope and Katia, who performed the Vietnamese Waltz to Lose Control by Teddy Swims. An absolutely brilliant song, by the way, by the incredible Teddy Swims. I'm a huge fan of that song. And I'm honestly at a loss for words how good Lewis here is. Like, his first performance when he did the Temptations absolutely blew me away. But this, my goodness me, it was so good. The way he was taking command of the stage, his feet were gracefully touching the floor, the flips he was doing, the gymnastics he added in, like corporation, like it was to die for. And they got a score of 27. Was that the same score from last week? I need to double check. Lewis. Oh no, so only one score difference, which is brilliant. And I'm just blown away by these guys because they are just. I've got no. I just don't have any other words to describe how good they are. Lewis is just. He was someone I was not expecting to be this good. I thought he'd be decent, but my goodness me, he was absolutely. I'm going to say this now. If Lewis and Katia aren't finalists by the end of the series, I'm going to be absolutely shocked, because two performances in, when they did the Temptations and now the Vietnamese Waltz, and they've just shown that they have what it takes to go all the way and potentially win the Glitter Ball trophy. I'm just absolutely blown away by these guys, and also Katia is such a clever mentor for him. She's just brilliant, and just the dramatic, like the drama aspect, the production value for the performance was so good. And I think if he's not in the finals, there is something seriously wrong, along with him and one of the upcoming contestants we'll talk about a bit later on in the review. But this was just on another level, and I cannot wait for him to do hopefully another epic performance, because I think Anton said that if he gets those right elements, he could be phenomenal, and he already is phenomenal. But I think he could take it to the next level for the next performance, and I can't wait for that. Next, we had Alex and Johannes, who performed the Samba to La Bamba, which is the Richie Valens iconic song, and famously in the movie La Bamba of the same name, and which was famously done by Lou Diamond Phillips, who was the Mantis on The Masked Singer over in America. And so it was so great to hear that song again. And they got a score of 31 as the overall score. I would have given it an 8. Oh, no, I actually would have given it a 9, actually. No, I would have given it a 9. And also what surprised me is because when Shirley mentioned it was one of the best samba she'd ever seen, I was like thinking to myself, why not give it a 10 then? You know, I know it's quite early on to maybe not give too many 10s out the way, but still, you could have gave a 10 there at least. I'm just saying, but this was the perfect song for the dance. And you know, Alex, you can tell she's got the most pure showmanship. The way she takes command of the stage is amazing. And Johannes is just he always gives his partners the confidence and showcases them, and he makes them comfortable, which is which is what you want in a mentor like him. And just wow, I mean, this was one of my favorite performances of the night as well. I've got my ranking. I've got my ranking somewhere, which I'll find a bit later on. But I mean, I was just, but I gotta say, I just think she's one of those people I just could see getting better and better. As the first performance was amazing when she did Crimea River, that was so good, and this performance again was just amazing. So I cannot wait for what they do next. And just that's all I can say is just they were absolutely fantastic. Now we go on to probably my favorite moments of the series so far, and that is Ellie Goldstein and Vito, who performed they performed the waltz to Your Song by Elton John, but it was, well, they did the Ellie Golding version, but I have it labeled as in my notes as Elton John, because it's Elton John's song basically, and just this was one of those performances that just like that you found yourself bawling your eyes at, because I must admit I actually got myself a bit teary-eyed watching the performance. Just the way she, the whole setup of it really felt like a Disney movie. Like this was something I could easily have seen in the Disney era. Just have how beautiful it was. The dress she was wearing was beautiful. The way she came down the stairs, and just the way Vito did the waltz with her was so just captivating. Even at the end, they had like a little butterfly motion, because I think in the VT they were in this like butterfly closure where they had little butterflies everywhere. And I've actually been to one of those before. They're actually really cool. That was like years ago though. But man, this performance just gave me all the feels. Just the way they graced the floor, and just again, this partnership reminds me so much of Chris McCausland and Diane from last year. And Vito, I don't think could have picked. I don't think Vito could have been a better partner for Ellie. I think he's just exceptional. The way he does his teaching with like the visual boards, the visual stuff to make it easier. It's just, this is what you want in a mentor to be. Just I just have my utmost respect is for Vito right now, and just it was absolutely captivating, and just I was really touched by this performance. It was really quite just it was really just that's what I can say. Just it was just so beautiful, and I got emotional watching this performance. Just seeing the partnership and the friendship both Ellie and Vito have is just truly wonderful, and that's all I can say. It was absolutely just pure and utter brilliance. And now we go on to the couple that was eliminated for week 2, and that was Thomas Skinner and Amy. They performed the salsa to Bonkers by Dizzy Rascal. No idea what the song was, but let me tell you, it was bonkers to say the least. And I think we all knew that Thomas was the weakest of the night and was going home. I think we were all sure about that. just it was just not the best of the night. It was really not that good, unfortunately. I mean, I will admit some of the lifts he was doing was very clever, was very impressive. I will admit, and I will give him credit. You know, he tried his best, so I got to give him some credit where credit is due. But he did a little like spin around, and then she was holding him by, and that was really kind of okay. Also, that was impressive as well. But you know, just it was just not the best. And once it came to the dance off between him and the upcoming couple we'll talk about, I just knew that he'd be the one going home, and it made sense. I feel bad for Amy because I was really wanting her to do well in the competition, especially what happened last year with JB Gill, which she had to drop out due to an injury. Unfortunately, Amy is the first one out, which is unfortunate. But I've got to give credit to Thomas and Amy for doing what they did, and awesome job to you guys. And yeah, that's what I'm going to say is why it wasn't the best of the night. I could tell Thomas was having so much fun, and that's all that matters sometimes on the show. And so good on them for doing what they did. Now we have Harry from Gladiators, aka what's his name? I don't know. I'm just calling him Harry from Gladiators. That just to make it easier. So we have Harry and Karen who performed "Everybody Needs Somebody to Love" from the Blues Brothers or by the Blues Brothers, which is also the film they're in, which is amazing. They got a score of 26 for their quick step. I would have given it a 7, as I think yeah, I thought this was a huge improvement, and there's been so many good quick steps out there. He really did brilliant with her choreography, and it does help that Harry is really enjoying it, and someone who can keep up because quick steps are really hard to do, are very quick to do. But yes, he really improved this time. I thought the first time was really good, with the push hits, and he did the push ups. He even did it with Anton. That was really funny. But yeah, I really enjoyed the performance. It was great to see some of the moves he was doing, And by the way, his victory lap he did afterwards was so funny, and just you can tell he's having so much fun. And also, it's so cool to see someone from the Christmas special last year actually compete on the main series, which I think is just awesome, awesome, awesome. And yeah, I think it was a great performance and an overall massive improvement from the previous week. Now we go on to a performance that, honestly, I might be a little bit biased here, but I loved this performance here, as we had Ross King and Joe Witter who performed the waltz to Sunshine on Leaf by the Proclaimers, which is a song I absolutely love. This is one of my favorite ever songs of all time, to be honest. Just I'm a huge fan of the Proclaimers, and just and this was just when I found out they were doing this song, I was so excited. And I must admit, I thought he actually improved a lot, quite a bit during this time around. I will say it wasn't perfect. It wasn't the best of the night, but I still thought he really improved his game quite a bit, in my opinion. And I think you could just see how much that song means to him, because it's a Scottish song. He's from Scotland, and seeing him doing this performance, with Joe Witter was quite emotional, and he was at he even him and him even him even himself actually got a bit emotional during the VT package, talking about how much the song means to him, which was very quite heartwarming to see. And it's just good to see him enjoying himself as he carries this really lovely essence through this routine. And the footwork wasn't too bad as well. And yeah, it was beautiful to see. Even though it wasn't the best, I thought, yeah, I've got no doubt the Scottish public, that the Scotland was behind this performance and was watching with pure proudness. And by the way, he looked nice in that kilt. He was rocking the kilt there. He really was. It looked snazzy on him. But I absolutely love this performance. I don't know how. I think he could be one of the next boots for the series. He might be the next to go home, or maybe the next one. But for a performance for the second time round, I thought he did a pretty nice job, and good on you, Ross, for doing to a song that you absolutely adore, absolutely love. So mad respect to you. Now we have Amber Davies and Nikita, who performed the samba to Bam Bam by Camila Cabello, another samba on the week. They got a score of 29, and out of all people, Craig gave the highest score, which was a pretty big shock because the others gave them a 7, but he was impressed by this performance, and so I would actually would have given this an 8. I would actually agree with Craig on this one. I would have given it an 8 overall. I thought, and I believe he mentioned in um the results show that if she continues at the trajectory she's at, he could be scoring 10. So, as the series progresses, we could see once Amber does a mind blowing routine. And yeah, I think she could be one to look out for. I think, and definitely that kind of storyline. Coming in as the replacement for Danny Dyer, and just doing it as if she was doing it, weeks ago for rehearsals. It was, it's just brilliant. She's absolutely brilliant. The partnership of Nikita and her is amazing. His choreographs are always a breath of fresh air, and the way she smiles, the way you can tell she's enjoying every single moment of it is absolutely wonderful. I thought this was a fantastic performance, and to see Craig give it a higher score was very unexpected. But I'm not complaining in the slightest because it really was a very worthy high scoring performance. Now we go on to Vicky Patterson and Kai, who performed the Foxtrot to "Rein Me In" by Sam Fender, which I think I know the name Sam Fender. Is he a Geordie? I think he's from the same. I think he's in the neck of the woods, in the same neck of the woods as Vicky is. I think I think he's the Geordie. I think, but anyways, they did the Foxtrot to that song, and I will, I thought that I do think that I think I said this before that I think that the first time around maybe Vicky wasn't as good, but I think I mentioned that she can be good, and this showed her confidence in the best way possible, because I think as Vicky grows her confidence, I just think she's going to get better and better and better. She's got all the right materials there to be a great dancer, and yes, I think, just it was really beautiful to see. And again, you could tell how much the song meant to her. I believe it's by Sam Fender's is a Geordie, so talking about song that means a lot to people. Similar to last year with Chris McCausland, we did Jerry and the Pacemakers. So they got a score of 24 on the board. I would have given it a 6 as well. I think a 6 was a good score for them. I think it was, I think there's still some stuff there that they can work on, but if they nip those in the bud, I think they will be fantastic. So a great performance, and I could easily see him, Kai, and Vicky being some people to look out for as it progresses. I think they've got so much there, and I think they're gonna do it once again, do another performance that could definitely shoot her way up to the top. I do believe that, and I cannot wait for that for movie week. Now we go on to the next performance, which was Chris Robshaw and Nadia, who was in the dance off against Thomas Skinner and Amy, but they survived, thankfully. And they did. And I must admit, I was between. Well, Thomas, I knew was going to be in the bottom. The second, I was between Chris Robshaw and Ross King, but I had a feeling it would be Chris once it came down to the last 4 people on the stage. So they performed a Vietnamese waltz. So was it the Vietnamese waltz? Yeah, the Vietnamese waltz to "Die with a Smile" by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars. Currently the most popular song at the moment. It's got like 1.3 billion views, which is mental. But I kind of noticed the same posture thing about leaning into the partner, even in other stuff. I think, was it Shirley who mentioned that, or Motzi? I can't remember who mentioned those, but I honestly thought he actually improved. I thought he definitely improved quite a bit this time around, because when he did the samba the first time around, the samba's quite hard to do for a first performance, but I think something like this was really nice to see, and the way that he flowed around the stage, and he did some very impressive spins with her. Even towards the end, he kind of he had her in his arms, and then she kind of dragged her feet across the floor. That was really beautiful. And I just think you can tell he's having a lot of fun, despite not being a bit maybe the most perfect dancer, but he really does have this kind of essence to him, which I absolutely love and respect. massively. So I thought this was a good performance, a great improvement. And again, I just think he's got this flow to him, which I love. I just think he's awesome. And I hope to see him last a bit longer on the competition, but we'll find out if he can rise up to the challenge. Now we go on to Stefan Dennis and Diane, who performs the Cha 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 to Give It Up by Casey and the Sunshine Band. Again, more Casey and the Sunshine Band. We had that last week, and then we had it this time around, which is absolutely awesome because I love the Casey and the Sunshine Band. And I must admit, I loved the beginning where it had like this kind of Top of the Pops theme, and the announcer was like, on this week's new entry, we have, Diane and Stefan doing, so that was a really nice a little addition they'd made in for him to do that. That was pretty cool. And it started off with this like Top of the Pops theme and very 80s kind of song. Is it the 80s or something? Let me double check actually. Is it a song? Oh gosh, where is it? Is it? I think it was the 80s. I think I'll do my research a bit later on. But anyways, yeah, I really thought this was a good performance. I will admit it wasn't. I wouldn't say it was as good as the first time round. I still thought there was some good movements there, and it was a fun number. And I love the partnership. I mean, again, Stefan and Diane are probably the most perfect couple for each other, and I think probably the most predictable, to be honest. But I still thought it was. I gotta give him credit for immediately getting back into it, and because he did make some mistakes in there, I noticed, but it was still, I gotta give him some credit for realizing them and then reeling back into it. And yeah, I hope they go a long way. I think they could be, someone I could definitely see improving as the competition goes along. I think they got a score of 17. I would have given it a 5. I don't think, I thought it was good overall. And also, I got to say, for Diane to be doing this whilst pregnant, I think I mentioned this last time, but it's honestly so impressive, for her to be doing this. As Jessica Sanchez from AGT, she was on the show whilst pregnant, and I believe she's expecting her baby soon. Which is very exciting. And yeah, I thought it was a good performance. Again, I think there can be some improvements for Stefan. But yeah, while he's here, I'm definitely enjoying the long run for the absolute most of it. And I really am enjoying his time. And I really hope that we see him do some more dancing that could definitely improve his body and his dance skills. I think he's great. And now we go on to probably, I have to say, the best performance of the night without question. And that was George Clark and Alexis, who performed the Paso Doble to Game of Survival. Again, no idea what this song is. I've never heard it before in my life. But let me tell you how amazing this was. It was, oh my goodness me. This was just, I'm honestly lost for words because, the first performance I thought was fantastic. But my goodness me, this was in a different league. Like, it's just crazy to think how different his confidence is based, through the competition. It's quite early, but I think at the start you could tell he may have had some self-doubt, but you could tell how much confidence he has grown through here. And Shirley said this absolutely spot on, that they could be looking at a front runner for the competition, which I totally agree, because he has got the potential to win the whole thing. Him and Lewis Cope, I think, are the two couples, the two celebrity dancers, I think, are the biggest locks to make into the finals. So I think, I'm going to do a video on that, actually, do some early predictions for the finals. And my goodness me, this was the best performance of the night without question. And can you imagine what he could do next? Because he did a Paso Doble. He did what did he do? Last week he did a American Smooth last week, and he got a score of 30, which was a great score. I would have given this a 9. I'd have given it a 9 out of 10 for sure. It was so good. And he is someone I could easily see being the front runner of the competition. And just, you could tell how he's so humble. He seems so nice. And again, I absolutely loved the whole performance. It was so good. It was just epic. And I would be amazed if he's not in the finals of this competition, because he is just an absolute joy. And now for the final performance of the night, which was probably the biggest surprise, to be honest, and that was the Charleston performed by Balvinda and Julian, who did it to Being Like This by Megan Trainor. And can I just say, one thing I've always appreciated by doing songs like this, that they even adds the whole theme of like to the music of the genre of dance, because in the band they did a whole Charleston theme to the song, which is the Megan Trainor, which I believe is more poppy, but they made it into actual Charleston music to it, which was so good. It was, I remember on The Masked Dancer when Onomatopoeia, who was Adam Garcia, when he did the Argentine tango to Bad Habits, they had a whole like tango themed music to that performance, which I thought was so cool. And they did, and this again, it reminded me a lot of that, but a Charleston. And Craig is very heavy on the Charleston. He even did a little bit of it before the final performance. He almost slipped over as well. He nearly slipped over himself, which was quite funny, which I didn't catch on until watching the recap. But I absolutely loved this, and you could see Balvinder's confidence really growing here, which was fantastic. And I loved the whole Charleston. They did not disappoint. The swivels were incredible. Just the technique was amazing. Just again, the swivels were amazing. The way they were using their arms, the footwork was brilliant, and they got a score of 30, joint with George and Alexis. I would have given it an 8. I would have given it an 8 overall. And again, she is someone I didn't have much betting on going into the competition, but my goodness me, after this performance, I think she's really up there to be another really an act I could easily see being the biggest improvement of the series, and I cannot wait for that. I thought it was amazing to see this performance, and again, I just think they are both. Julian's a brilliant mentor for her, and I think this whole performance was absolutely top notch. So there you have it. That is my review on Strictly Come Dancing for week 2. Hopefully, my schedule for doing these reviews will be better going on to movie week, which we have here, which I can't wait for. We have Cynthia Erivo. What's her name? I need to find her name quickly. Cynthia. Okay. Cynthia Erivo. That's her name. There's some names I can never pronounce in my life. I'm sorry, but Cynthia is going to be on the the judging panel. Very fitting because she was in Wicked in the most recent movie. We have some great movies here they're doing, so I'll go through them. What Jimmy and Lauren doing No Time to Die, which is the Billie Eilish song from James Bond. Balvindo doing the Foxtrot to Frank Sinatra. Sweet Child of Mine, Chris and Nadia, they're doing, Guns N' Roses. We've got Mary Poppins. Love me some Mary Poppins. As well as, the Thunderbirds theme. Again, love Thunderbirds. If anyone watched Thunderbirds growing up, let me know. And those are some of the dances I'm looking forward to seeing. And who I think could be going home next week, I think it's going to be between... I think I'm going to say between Ross King and Chris Robshaw. But looking back on his Ross's performance last week, I could see him maybe potentially sticking around for a little bit longer. So I'm going to say Chris Robshaw, I think, will be going home in the next episode. Because now Thomas Skinner is out, I think this is kind of up in the air on where we could go. But let me know your thoughts on week 2 for Strictly. Who are you looking forward to seeing for movie week? Are you excited for the songs? I'd love to hear your feedback. Once again, thank you so much for listening to my review. If you enjoyed it, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'd really appreciate your feedback. But once again, thank you so much for watching my review or listening to my review for Strictly Come Dancing week 2 for 2025. And of course, I will see you guys next time.